on to talk about A Child is Subject of Law. That's the new book written by the Executive Director of Child Rights International, Bright Appiah. He's here. We want to have a conversation on the book that's about, you're launching this tomorrow at the Sweet Spirit Alisa Hotel. Good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
You've been on child rights advocacy for such a long time. Why do you think that we need this book, really, that you've written?
Yeah, well, one of the things that informed me has to do with the fact that we have a lot of laws scattered all over the place protecting children. So I decided that, no, we need to put all these together, run it, and then also look at the history behind the development of child rights so that people can understand where we are coming from as a nation and where we are now. And then also you realize that a lot of people interact with children and they do not know that if a child is working, the laws of this country protect the child a lot, and we take them for granted. So we have documented all these for people to have a single document that will speak to most of the issue that concerns children. So that is why I decided to come up with this book. And you know, I've been in this advocacy work for 15 years. So we thought that at least we have a little experience that we can also share with people. So we looked at the jurisprudence of issues relating to child rights in Ghana and beyond, and then what the specific law says about children. We looked at the juvenile justice, we look at the criminal code, we look at the contract systems, we look at procedures that if you want to go to court, how to file issues relating to children, and then we look at custody, maintenance, and rehabilitation. And then access. Normally, when a court gives you custody, we take it for granted. We think that it's just an ordinary thing, but in the eye of the law, it's a serious thing. It's a responsibility that has been given to you. So we've documented all this for people to understand that once you have custody, what does it mean? When you have access, what does it mean? And when the court says that you have to maintain the child for a certain period of time, what does it mean? All these things are documented in the book with cases that have been adjudicated by the court all over the world, establishing certain principles that we have to follow. So basically, it is a book that we're going to deal with issues concerning children. And
this is impressive. Yeah. Listening to you narrate what is contained in this book, but what language is used?
Well, in terms of the language, it is English. I don't know how if you say language.
Because you know, so can a child read this and understand as well?
No, this is purely an academic book and for professionals. It's not a book that is meant for...
And for students as well?
Yeah, for students, yes. So it cuts across every sphere, because this is what you must know in order to protect a child. So we are not necessarily targeting children in terms of what they need to do. But if you are a child, and you can also, there are certain aspects that children can read, especially when it comes to the history of the development of children's rights in Ghana.
As in where we've come from.
Where we've come from. So in terms of the social studies, they can look at that aspect. But when you look at the legal and the technical aspect, it's good for the professional. So I can say that it targets everyone.
So, you know, like, so for parents, I mean, how useful is this document for parents as well?
For me, if you ask me, parents need this book because they have to understand children that they are taking care of, and the things, because when you look at some of the provisions in the book, you realize that a little neglect of parent responsibility towards children can lead to some different thing altogether. So there's a need for them to also understand the context in which they have to take care of their children, and then the services that they have to provide. You know, so. For me, they need this book, and my hope is that after this, we will run a series of programs targeting parents, social workers, professional workers like journalists, police, and any professional worker, you know, so to understand the context in which you have to view the child. Once you are able to do that, we will not find ourselves in some of the things that we do find ourselves in.
Absolutely. So this is being launched tomorrow at
Yes,
Alisa?
tomorrow at Alisa at 3 p.m. And we have invited some prominent people to support us. And fortunately, the Chief of Staff will be there to as a special guest. We also have Professor Kenatefa, who would also look at the book. And then Martin Kpebu will be doing the review.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, of the book. And there are other people that are coming, but they don't want their name to be mentioned. So
We'll still see them at Alisa
yes,
tomorrow.
Yes. And I know Joy Multimedia will be there. And let me use this occasion to thank Multimedia for the sponsorship package they gave us, giving us a platform to talk about the book. So we appreciate it so much, and I thank the leadership of Multimedia for that.
So is this out there, or after the launch tomorrow? Can I have the privilege of holding it and showing it?
It's your copy. So it's your copy.
Oh, nice. Okay, so this is the book we're talking about. So is this Child's Rights International, or this is you, Brighter Pierre, as an individual writing this?
It is me, Brighter Pierre, but the work is because I'm with Child Rights. That's why I came out with this. But this is my personal project.
What were the challenges in putting this piece together? Because you're talking about laws scattered around.
Exactly. Yeah. One of the things that was very difficult is the Ghanaian cases, because we realized that most of the cases that goes to court in our system do not go to the level in which it can establish a precedent for you to follow, to say that in the Ghanaian court it says that this is what the principles are. So it was a limitation. And then also there are some cases that the court were willing to give to us because they think that under the protection policies of the court, they don't want to expose children to some of these things. But again, we managed to get some of the cases to establish a principle without necessarily mentioning the names of these children who were involved in these particular issues and all that. Because we just want people to have that understanding so that they can interact with children properly. So basically,
so this is purely Ghana law, Ghana cases.
It's Ghana law, Ghana cases, and some of the cases also we got it from the common law positions because some of them are also adopted in the Ghanaian context, for which the judges use it to also adjudicate on certain matters. So we adopted some of these things as though it is within the Ghanaian context.
Can we begin to talk about costs? How much it costs you to do this?
It's very. I spent a lot of money because one, I have to engage people to do the research and I have to pay them. I got about 5 people to do the edit of the book, and we have to pay them. And then the printing, is a very special printing, which we spent a lot of money. My objective is just to get this thing in the market for people to have access to it, so that they can interact with children very well. So I'm not necessarily thinking about the cost, but so even the determination of what the price will be after the launch.
Yeah. But where would it be after the launch?
Yeah, well, we're trying to get it to most of the bookshops, and then also trying to get most of the faculties of law in this country to get it in their libraries. And if they can give us a stand, we can mount it for people to have access to it. So that is our target.
Okay.
Well, but we also put it on Amazon, so people can get a copy.
I thank you for doing this, because this is really hard and it's very difficult. So for anybody who's interested and who handles children, this will be really, really good. I think particularly for schools, for students as well. So thank you for doing this. Whatever it costs you, may it come back to you in like 100-fold.
Thank you.
So we'll be there tomorrow 3 p.m. Can anybody show up, or you need a special invitation?
Well, it's strictly by invitation because of some protocols that we have to observe. So strictly by invitation. But Joy FM Multimedia is a partner, so.
All right.
You have.
I think what the AM show will begin to do after the launch will be to serialize some of the content as well, in the form of conversations on the show. I think it will be very helpful.
Thank you.
So, thank you for coming through. We wish you the very best tomorrow, and we'll have more conversations after. Stay with us, courtesy Awake Purified Water. The beautiful Becky Bex is here with some show business.